At sunrise, the driving range was almost empty, except for a retired golf pro named Marcus. Every morning, he watched the same thing happen. Beginners showed up, excited, struggled for 20 minutes, and then quietly left embarrassed. The serious golfers had already have coaches and country clubs. The beginners had YouTube videos and frustration. One afternoon, Marcus noticed a father and daughter sharing a bucket of balls. The daughter laughed every time she missed. The father apologized constantly to everyone around them. It gave Marcus an idea. The next week, he painted colorful circles on the range grass, red for beginners, blue for families, black for advanced golfers. Then he introduced something nobody else had ever done: no pressure golf nights, no scorecards, no dress code, music playing softly from speakers. Coaches walked around giving 5-minute tips instead of expensive hour lessons. Every new visitor got a hot dog and a photo with at the bottom, good shot. Experienced golfers laughed at the idea, but the beginners loved it. People who had always believed that golf was intimidating, suddenly a place missing shots was normal. Families came from fun instead of competition. Teenagers posted online photos. Couples treated it like date night. Within 3 months, Marcus had more customers than the expensive club across town. Then something unexpected happened. Many of those beginners improved and wanted more. Marcus started offering affordable golf lesson packages, beginner leagues, a weekend mini tournaments. The same people who once feared golf were now buying clubs, booking lessons, and bringing friends. Other golf businesses sold perfection, where Marcus sold comfort first. And comfort built loyalty faster than talent ever could. A new idea goes a long way. Let's think outside the box. Let's get creative. And that's what brings us here today. So, hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Phil Mordino, and I'm with the Indoor Golf Alliance. We're excited that you could join us today. We have one simple mission here at the Indoor Golf Alliance, and that is to help you with your golf business. We do that through education. We do that through basically information and connecting times like this. So we've got a great program for you today. I'm very excited because we've got some great experts on the topic, and we're going to talk about today filling empty bays, staying connected with your golfers. And we're going to cover three main areas: how to keep your bays full during slow hours in off-season months, proven strategies to stay connected with customers between visits, how collaboration tools help sim facilities drive recurring revenue through coaching programs with real world examples. And I'm very honored to have three experts with us. We have Alex Berlin, Vice President of Golf Coach Now. We have Noah Horstman, owner of the Golf Garage, and Luke, the founder of M3 Golf Lab. So, guys, thank you. Welcome. And so excited you could join us. How are we doing?
Good, thanks, Phil.
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Alex, take it away.
Yeah, Noah, Luke, thank you both for joining us. I guess a little bit of background that is just happenstance. I thought of sort of both of you when we were looking for folks to join us on this webinar that could pass along some knowledge for these specific topics. My background, obviously, I've been with Coach Now for a long time, always have been on the coaching side and have kind of had the unique opportunity of seeing a lot of different coaches and having exposure to a lot of different coaches that um, have different models, right? Whether it be indoor or private country club or very elite high performance. And I think both actually Noah and Luke would have some of that high performance. They would have some of that indoor. They're going to have some of that community. So it'll be a really, really nice fit in that way. But they also actually know each other, kind of come from the same roots, went to the same high school, correct? Uh, and actually, Luke is not in his normal place of business right now. He's close to Noah right now, and they had a chance to connect. I think it was yesterday. So really cool to have both of you on. Noah, if you don't mind just kicking us off before we get into kind of the coaching side and how the coaching side might push your, we'll call it sim or indoor business. Can you tell everyone a little bit about the golf garage? Because it's obviously it's big for one, and there's a lot of technology, and you have some really cool things going on there.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks for everybody that's joining us today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Noah Horseman. I'm the PGA professional. Yeah, the Golf Garage is something super special. First of all, I want to invite everybody up if you don't get a chance to. PGA professionals are complimentary anytime. Bring your students, bring your friends. So there's my pitch for the day. With that being said, I grew up playing golf at the age of 12, worked at golf courses since that time. In short, I held almost every position that you could think of, from working on the grounds crew, thinking I was going agronomy role, to, going into playing college golf at a high level with some ranking, thinking I wanted to be a tour player. And so I got into the golf industry thinking that it would help me to become a tour player. Little did I know how many hours we worked behind the counter. And I had an injury. And so that injury really drove me into the direction of coaching and teaching. In short, I was fortunate enough to work for a couple of management companies where you learn really quickly either how to fast track or sink and get out of the industry. I hate to say that because I think management companies are great, but it was just how I felt about it. So I learned really fast and decided I want to go into the private realm. Worked 4 years at Illa Heels Country Club in Salem, Oregon as an assistant. Took over the college golf program at Willamette University. And immediately it just was like I fell in love with teaching and coaching, took them to top 25 in the country in 2 years. Became director of instruction there, and then moved east. My wife and I got married, and I decided that we wanted to be closer to family to start a family. With that being said, Cleveland, Ohio became the next place. Um, Backing up to Illahee, we were trying to build an indoor facility at Illahee back in 2012 to 14. And they wanted to basically take all of my lesson revenue away from me in order for that to happen. And I immediately just, obviously said no, and that wasn't going to work. So I was a little bit too forward thinking at the time to get what I wanted at that facility. Moved on to Beachmont Country Club in Cleveland, Ohio, high-end private in East Cleveland. Awesome facility. Spent half my time in Arizona, half my time there, and indoor facilities were starting to pop up, and I was starting to get a feel for it. That, hey, this could be logical. We get a lot of snow. We had our first child, and I decided that, hey, we want to stay in one location and not do this anymore. So I went to Beachmont. I had my 7th year there. I had a meeting with the board of directors. I had an attorney in the boardroom. So for those of you that know private clubs, you don't get to do that very often. They were ready to say yes. And the vice president at the time looked across the table at me and said, Noah, I don't know how we can do this. You're not going to be here that much longer. And I literally called him by name and said, well, what do you mean? If you build this, I'll stay here forever. We had it so ready. It was inexpensive. It was just a 2-bay indoor outdoor, and it got turned down because of his comment. So I go home deflated and talk to my wife about it. And in short, I took a leap of faith and we moved back home. So home for me is Medford, Oregon, same as Luke. And I knew the indoor space was going to work, but I wasn't quite there yet. I had a golf academy outside. We ended up building that really quickly in our area. And I had a partner, and we had 4 coaches, PGA coaches, crushing it. And then needed to step away from the partnership and started my own thing. And we built a 2-bay in my garage, 525 square feet, 2 bays. And we were busier than we could ever be. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, this is Medford. We're supposed to have good weather here. This isn't Cleveland, Ohio. Found the marketplace for it. Talked to my wife about this, literally over coffee on a napkin, and designed a 7,500 square foot facility. Just putting green, short game area, because a lot of places kind of lack in that, and they just build their bays. 10 bays, knowing what I needed for ROI, because I've been in some of that side of it. And, a little bit of some workout equipment, and that was about it. So all of a sudden my wife says, oh, I want to start teaching Pilates again. So now we add on a Pilates wing, we add on a physical therapy facility because we wanted that pillar. We add on a kids play area. We add in a few other things. And then I was talking to my contractor and asked him, hey, what is it that we're missing that would allow you to be a member here because you're my clientele. He said, you need a bar. So I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know anything other than when I was a GM at like a public facility about how to run a food and beverage operation, nor do I want to. So brought the bar in, best thing I could have ever done. We have now expanded it to having a sushi bar. We have 2 food trucks out front. We have other people that are leasing the space. We have an outdoor bunker because we have good enough weather, and I didn't want sand indoors, as you know, some of those facilities that have it. It does get messy. I don't want bladed shots. So we were able to, in our climate, create an environment that you can walk 50 feet in any direction and do everything you need to do. So that's the story of how it came to fruition, essentially. And there's a lot more to go with that. But yeah, thanks for asking.
Do you have a security team?
A security team?
I just was wondering because it just feels like if I was like 14, 15 years old, you would be like, dude, can you get out of here? You're here too much.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's actually a sensitive subject. We got broken into
Oh, I'm sorry.
about 3 weeks ago. So for those of you that follow us on Instagram, weird is nobody got hurt. We have really good security cameras. It's like a $30,000 system
Mm.
that they didn't update the firmware on, so we couldn't even see the guy when it was dark. So we're working through all the fun stuff. That's why I have insurance. But end of the day, it's also upped our security game. So I thought you were really going in the realm of like, hey, do you? And yes, it's pretty good right now.
No, not in that direction. All right, Luke. So, M3 Golf Labs in Steamboat. Uh, Not exactly the same as the Golf Garage, but really cool. I guess I would call it like boutique experience. Definitely, I have the opportunity to do some swing body mind, I guess, and the technology's there as well. So, would you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. We, I really had this passion project kind of dream for a number of years to create an environment where people could come in and train, from in 3 different dimensions, and the physical side, the technical side, and then the mental side. My background's really in coaching and performance coaching. And I just felt like, years of traditional golf instruction, while I think that serves a purpose, I just felt like there was something that we could create from that 3-dimensional standpoint that was going to offer long-term improvement. And so we set about doing that and opened 3 years ago. And it's been great. We continue to simplify and try to refine the approach and make it as accessible as possible for people. Because what I find, no one wants to kind of come in and feel like they're overwhelmed with things, which is pretty easy to do in this day and age from a technology standpoint. So we try to keep it simple. We get people into a relationship. We first structure a 6-month coaching program, and when they come out of that 6 months, they have a platform on which they can come and practice. They have their TPI routine. They have their TrackMan based path face technical routine. We're always talking about trying to get people zeroed out and creating environments, external cue-based environments that allow people to do that, both in season and out of season. And then we offer mental training as well. My background's I have a master's degree in sports psychology, and I've just tried to integrate that world into the coaching world in a way for those that are open to it, that allows them to realize their more full potential through concentration, focus, imagery, relaxation, things like that. So it's a small footprint. We have 2 bays. We do have a bar. We look at that as more of an amenity for our guests and for our clients and students. We don't pack it with parties, so to speak. It's more, guys might sit and have a post-round beer. We do some events as well, around major tournaments and things like that, where we try to create some culture and community, get people in and have a little skins game, things like that. But we really are trying to always refine that experience. At the start, it was everybody said, "Oh, this is such a great idea. You're gonna kill it. We're under snow and Steamboat for 7, 8 months a year. People want to come in and drink beer and play golf." I'm like, no, that's not what we're doing here. This is not a bar. I'm sure someone can do that a lot better than I can, do the bar simulator experience. And in Colorado, there's no shortage of those. So we've really focused on from the coaching standpoint, and that's been great for us. We do a lot of club fitting as well. We're kind of the regional hub for for club fitting, and we've tried to push the gas on that as well. And so we're coming into our fourth. This will be going on to our fourth year. We're starting to roll out this summer. We're rolling out 24/7 access to our clients with automated entry, and that's kind of the next phase. Is as we move into this, like it or not, this AI facilitated learning experience that's emerging. I think that's the next phase I'm most fascinated by, and how that's going to integrate with the indoor experience. And it's gonna offer an opportunity for all of our businesses. So that's kind of where we're going.
I don't mean to turn off here because this is just totally separate topic, but what you just said on that AI kind of learning piece is, I guess, just a quick question. We won't go too long into this, but are you saying that you feel like it still won't need to be coach facilitated in some way? Um, I guess it's just kind of a quick thought on that. I think that the coach, this is just my personal kind of experience or opinion on this. As far as we get on that, I still kind of feel like you're going to need a set of eyes and a coach to steer you, right? They may not have to give you as much
Yeah.
steering, but they're going to help you steer in the right direction, right?
Yeah, my feeling is, and I think the golf space, golf instruction, coaching in general is no different from any other career or any other area that AI is going to influence. And this is just my personal opinion. I think the best coaches that have the highest emotional intelligence and are able to connect with people and are able to hold people accountable in an empathetic way are going to win, and they're going to win big. Those that are just looking at golf instruction transactionally as an information exchange, I think are going to get left behind. So I think that those of us
Right.
that can, lean into that are going to do well. And AI is going to help us be better. It's going to help our students be better. But more than ever, they're going to desire, whether they're aware of it or not, they're going to desire that emotional accountability piece that we can offer as people.
That was great. Thanks. No, jump into you here. So I kind of heard you both say, but maybe Noah, you didn't dig into this as deeply. So when we look at the golf garage, you talked about it's an experience. There's a lot going on there, but it sounds like the foundation still kind of goes back to the coaching piece. So tell me about the coaching programs, how that kind of runs revenue, and then are these other things sort of a piece of that, or do they kind of lean into it, or is it more about the experience? So tell me about the coaching side and how that relationship's structured.
Yeah, no, great question. So ultimately, everything that we've done with Golf Garage, it was built as a training facility first. So when Luke actually toured it too, we were talking about how the conference room is really a training room. We just had to call it something, right, to be able to utilize it. And there's always that time and that place, even for that room, where you need to bring in either a group of students or maybe a one-on-one time away from, the technology, just to talk to them and build that relationship. I really like what Luke said. I'm very similar where I'm trying to build a relationship with my students. My staff is as well. I think there's a lot of similarities there. We also have more of a three-pillar approach with that as well. And my philosophy's always been every player's different. So even when you had the coaches that were promoting certain aspects of a swing, I always had that even built in before I was just teaching full time. So we have, from a marketing standpoint, we have over 150 different player development programs, right? What does that even mean? It could literally be a theme that's changed from a wine and wedges or whiskey and wedges or whatnot, right? We just have the ability to tailor something to someone that's what they need to hear to get them in the door. And then you have the opportunity, hopefully, to get them to enjoy the game, and you're growing golfers a lot faster. My ultimate goal with Golf Garage is that we have so many opportunities and touch points for those golfers and for our members that they never give up the game. So we don't lose. We don't have the attrition like a normal private club, maybe based on costs or whatever that is. The fact that we have 24/7 access as well is unique and difficult at the same time. And there's a lot of elements there with scheduling and point of sale that we run into. But going back to it, the lifeblood of what we do is growing the game of golf. And I want Golf Garage to grow it at the highest level globally. I talked to Golf Tech a lot before I did it to find out what they did, what they were missing, what their proprietary software was like. I have some friends that, own some as well. And then I've talked to a bunch of smaller, really, really good professionals as well that like, what is it that makes you better, right? And it's a team, right? It's a team approach. It's all of that. Like Luke, we actually have an emotional intelligence. I love that he said that. Our mental performance coach is EI, which is emotional intelligence, and I think it's a great avenue of going. So we try to make sure we have everything available, and if we don't have it, we tell them to tell us what they want, and we won't say no, and we'll create it. And I think that's what's so nice about it is being an entrepreneur and continuing down that pathway to give people what they want if we can. And then also, we just created, Alex, a 10-level system differently. So while we were building Golf Garage, it took away so much of my time that the coaches just kind of had to keep going down the route that they felt comfortable in a way. And I just recently, I'm like, man, our system isn't broken, but it needs a refresh. And I feel like that's always going to be the case at some level until you can really put in the specifics as to how you can grow. And so we just created a 10-level system that will work for both kids and adults. We didn't make it specific, and it's a test out. So with Op36, that was going on, obviously, that you guys are a part of. We've been in that from day one and really love it, but it's not really something that's specific to testing out in a player development realm. So if you pass 25 and 50 and whatnot, it's like, hey, shouldn't you go back to 25 at a lower level, right? What's a tour player going to be at 25 yards? So I think there's a lot of things there that I'm excited about that now my coaches have the ability to help train the youth and then the adults that are in these programs because there's accountability behind how they're going to test out of these. And then also being able to have the flexibility to modify some of it slightly depending on the person and what their needs are and what their goals are. So again, if we can have tools like Op36 and Coach Now, using that platform as well, it allows us to be accountable as coaches, but it also allows our students to have to be accountable, which again, then we decide if their goals have to change based on those conversations and those continuous things. So unlike Luke, where he has the program that's specific for 6 months, our programs, we have more of those a la carte options. But then once you get to level 4, it is a 3-month minimum commitment upwards after that to where we do have more of a commitment based in the teaching realm. We still sell some packages as well. So again, I would just say that for us, because our facility is large enough to do this, unlike, and this is just the conversations I had with Golf Tech when we built it, one of their managers said, hey, you can do all the short game stuff and we can't. So that's why we offer it, just because we have the ability to do it. And it just allows us to not miss any days, when the weather's bad or anything happens. So it's a huge benefit for sure.
That's good stuff. Luke, can you tell us just about the coaching side and how that sort of drives? I know we talked actually when we've talked before, sort of you said that you see the coaching side really as the revenue side, and then the key fob and things like that, maybe more as like the rent side, or maybe not specifically the rent side of things. But tell me about how the coaching kind of drives the rest of this. Obviously, you are going to do the fittings and things like that. You're going to open it to more of this 24/7 or allowing them to have access, which I'm assuming will be some sort of membership to get into that.
Yeah, our initial sort of 3-year model was to allow the simulator to cover the overhead and for the coaches to be able to generate revenue that they could, that they could live on. That was our goal. And beyond, as we move into year 4 or 5, our model is shifting, and in that we're seeing a lot of growth and success on the simulator side to a point where our overhead's covered, and it's starting to generate a pretty significant revenue source and net profit for the entire business. So focusing a little bit more of my time on that has been beneficial. I've had, I'm a full-time coach, so I have my students here. I also have some students outside of Steamboat that I've traveled to see for the last 3 years. So I'm trying to balance all of that in a way that allows me to kind of keep my cup filled from a coaching standpoint, but also grow the business. So kind of big picture, that's kind of how I've looked at it. And you know, I've have a couple partners in this project, and they've been great, kind of allowing me to grow this in the direction that I want. But as we look to expand our footprint from a coaching philosophical standpoint, I really want the brick and mortar side of this to just take care of itself, and I want to be able to focus on expanding more of that coaching philosophy into other indoor facilities, as well as having a footprint sort of in the larger coaching world. So ours is a little unique. We're a town of 10,000 people, so we're not in a situation where we could just bang out 6 bays and look to just run people through them. We have a limited audience. We have a small market, but they're educated, and they want a certain experience that we felt was uh, easier to provide with a smaller footprint than trying to do something large scale.
Yeah, so the coaching's going to drive it.
Hmm.
All right, so talk to me, maybe both of you are Coach Now users. We're not going to specifically go into, maybe we don't have to go into how you use Coach Now, but just talk to me about technology, how technology plays a role, how you keep that connection with these people. Do either of you, I guess no, I don't know for sure, and I don't know, Luke, do either of you offer, like, what level of communication do you offer to that student or that person that comes through the door for continued communication that maybe when they're not there? Or is the model more that, they're in a program and they're going to be there? And so that's not anything that's separate from what they're doing indoors with you.
Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, Noah and I were talking about this the other day. I think when we both started out down this road, it was what platform exists where you can, really accomplish all of your needs from a scheduling standpoint, from a payment standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. And, you don't want to spread yourself in 6 different directions. And there was really, 3, 4 years ago, I felt like that was a tough ask. There was people that did it well, but maybe not everybody. They couldn't do everything, and you're always kind of just juggling, toggling back and forth between browsers. And from my standpoint, I rely pretty heavily on TPI and the TPI platform, which is great for creating programming, but maybe not so great in terms of communicating with students. TrackMan data, great. TPS software, great in terms of lesson analysis, 3D, things like that. Again, not great in terms of scheduling, communicating. So what Coach Now has done for me is I really use that as the hub. And while I might use other platforms like TrackMan or like TPI to create programs or have little offshoots, I put it all in Coach Now. I put it all in a student's feed, and it enables them to have a place where they can see everything. I can take all that information. I might take 2 or 3 lessons worth of notes. I might take their sort of TPI overview and their screen. I might take their TrackMan data. I'll put that all into an AI. I'll put it in ChatGPT and say, give me just a one-page PDF kind of simplified version of what we're working on right now with this student, and then I'll put that PDF in their Coach Now platform. So it's they're not toggling. Where do I go? Do I go to TPI? Do I go to TrackMan? No, it's all in Coach Now. And I use those other things in the background, and don't force them to have 6 different passwords. That also enables me to send them messages very easily. How you doing? How are things going? I do a weekly sort of tip of the week that I'll send out, just a quick video that I'll send to all students' feeds. And that is, I can't tell you how much that has benefited just the consistency with which people are booking, just kind of staying top of mind. And it's not an email, so they're not like getting bombarded, but it's just that push notification to have that toggled on, like, oh, here's a tip, and inevitably they'll click on that. And then within 25, 30 minutes of that going out, I'll get, 2 or 3 people scheduling lessons that, maybe otherwise they would have kind of put off, or they wouldn't have thought to do. So I think it's invaluable. And I think, Coach Now, for me, from my standpoint, is really sort of capture that market of having everything in one place, and allowing me to communicate consistently, weekly, if not daily, with all my students, making the payment process very simple, and making the scheduling process very simple as well.
Well, that was good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually wrote something down there that you just said, Luke. I just from the standpoint of I love that you're sending out videos to your students. We're in the middle of a big push right now on how we're marketing ours, and I'm actually going to be doing a tip of the week through the news for 13 weeks locally, which was able to get a sponsor for. And I'm like, how do I go back to what I used to do, which was build my online teaching business, which Coach Now obviously is something I want to utilize a lot more with that, but also YouTube at some level. So I'd be curious also from like Alex later on maybe how he thinks that should look. For us, we've had 2 point of sale systems for quite a while. I met George obviously at the PGA show. We had some good conversation about what we were looking for at Golf Garage, because my plans to franchise out at least 50 more golf garages, just because of how comprehensive we are. And I'm looking to the PGA coach to take those on. I'm looking at a potential to have backers that can actually fund it for the PGA coach, because I know what we all make and it's not going to be enough, but there's an opportunity to grow and do what you love there. So whether it's like a Luke's model or my model where it's bigger, right? There's opportunities in both depending on the marketplace you're at. And I think that's really, really what's important here to take away. We're still struggling through it. I'm not going to go deep dive on the story of where we're at. We currently use USchedule for our scheduling platform because of how many coaches we have, and the way the point of sale works, and that it does have a point of sale for food and beverage in it. We have been working with their owner and their programmers for the last 2 months to try to get it to a place that will work for us and integrate with our whole facility. As you guys all know, every company doesn't want to give up their back end, so it's called API. With that being said, we are finding ways to allow our facility to be automated without API. And so I'm really excited about a company that I've been working with on that. So we're really close to being what we want to be. With that being said, Coach Now going into that realm is a huge tool for us. And I think with technology, Alex, to answer that question first, is technology is a tool. It's to create some sort of a feel or a visual or something so someone can create that repeatable motion they can trust, right? So they're training to trust something to get on the golf course and ultimately shoot lower scores or hit it farther, right? So people aren't going to come to a golf lesson and say, I want to hit it shorter or I want to shoot a higher number. So it's really nice to have all the tools, whether like we partner with the physical therapist. They have force plates, so we don't need to buy those. We have pressure mat systems, right? So we have that, right? And some of those are extinct, but there's other apps. So what's hard about technology is the technology companies aren't always telling you when there's updates. They're not always telling you when things are going. And I think Coach Now does a great job of that. It already just does it half the time, at least from what I know. And then you guys have educations through Golf Genius all the time, just like this. So you guys are the leaders, in my opinion, of updating technology and letting us know about it and educating us on it. I can't think of many other companies that are that good at it without a price tag behind it. So I love this side of it. When it comes to why we have 2 point of sales, it's because we have a membership base. We have multi-facilities as far as we also focus on green grass facilities. We have 7 reciprocal golf courses within our network that will go to 20 with each golf garage. So a little more background on what our model is. But there's a lot going on that I need to click of a button. So I think what Luke was also referring to, not to put words in your mouth, but integration. There's not a full integration right now, and I'm hopeful that someone will come out with it. We use Foresight Sports as an example. We use Foresight monitors in all of our bays. I have quads as well that I can take outside. So that way it's apples to apples, where Luke's using TrackMan. They're both really good in the right environment. And they both give really good data points, but nobody is able to give the full gamut yet. And I'm hopeful these companies can start coming together and being able to help each other just a little bit more on that side. Because if Golf Genius had a point of sale, I'll say it again, you guys would rule the world. And you do, right? But I'm saying a point of sale from a food and beverage side. You guys would literally take over the world. So hopefully that is coming. And if not, I think that's where we have to figure out is there a plug-in or something? Because that makes all of our jobs easier as we move forward. Because the indoor market, I'm not that expert when it comes to the expansion side of it, but it's not going away. And all we keep hearing is the billion, there's $1 billion industry behind this. So it's nowhere near where it's going to be. And it allows people to play around a little faster. It allows them to get better because they can know their numbers, right? It allows them to understand. You could do simulated stuff. I mean, you can actually learn how to fly in a simulator now. I don't know if you know that, right? So simulators are coming a long way. And I think it's really cool to be able to take something, create a feel, go on the course and see if you can get better. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at with the technology side.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, I think in a perfect world, yeah, we would be like, hey, we'll just create all these API integrations and we'll just connect with everyone. And I mean, this is the long standing, it's like the forever thing. For as long as I've been doing this, it's like, how do I get this in? How do I get this in? Kyle Morris from the golf room was just texting me the other day and he's like, have this opportunity down in Brazil. And, I want to know how I'm going to get this in. And I'm like, dude, it's not there. Nobody's really there yet, right? So that would be the expanding no, where we're saying like, well, we have this footprint. Can we expand this footprint, but still offer the coaching in some way? Which I think dovetails. There's a great question in here, which I think both of you have touched on. That like really coaching to me is driving both of your properties. Maybe more so on Luke's side. Noah, there may be more of a balance. Obviously, for Luke, that's coaching is what it sounds like it's what you want to be doing and what you want to be driving that facility and what is realistic given your kind of geographic area. But the question is, so this person, they don't have a certified coach on staff. So they've created this monthly retainer for coaches to bring students in to utilize the sim for lessons or workshops. And they just want to kind of know from the two of you as a coach, what would make it appealing? It sounds like maybe this person might want to consider hiring somebody, but what would make it appealing as far as to the coach to pitch it to them to make this available to them? That's a great question. Whoever asked that, love it.
Sorry, so I just wanted to verify they're asking more about how they would bring the coach in to make it appealing, like kind of a
I think
revenue or
yeah,
whatnot for the
exactly.
coach.
Like where is the upside? How do you bring it in or
Perfect.
attract that coach? Yeah.
I can start with that because I've gone through about 3 different ways with my coaches. So my coaches came in. We had West Coast Golf Academy that came into Golf Garage, right? So that was how we started Golf Garage. It was 2 separate entities, one almost like paying rent to the other, even though they were one company. Then I realized how much paperwork I was doing on the back end and not teaching. And I'm like, okay, we're going to make it just Golf Garage. We don't need West Coast Golf Academy, and that'll be our online business later. Moving into that role, they were all independent contractors. And what we were finding was like a lot of coaches want stability. So I started looking at it as, okay, how do I get them to a different level in coaching because they're up and coming, they're getting their class A's and all the other thing with the PGA, and how I also feed them at the same time, right? Because independent contractor is just that. You come and go as you please. You can do whatever you want to do, right? So legally you have to run that business, and you could do a percentage or do something there. You still have your own facility that you have to make some revenue off of. So that's just the conversation piece, depending on what you think they're going to bring to your business. So you have to almost work backwards and say, hey, if I have this person in, I don't have to teach as much to create revenue, or man, they're going to bring in so many more members, or they're going to bring in so many more things for me. And the game of golf now, marketing, is secondary because of where I'm at, and they're the coach I want. So what are they bringing? It's like a vendor when you get on staff with somebody, right? They're not going to put you on staff unless you're selling their equipment. It's just plain and simple. It's our industry. So the other thing I look at is, okay, depending on the individual, if they want stability and what's best for your business model, maybe they need to be an employee. With that is a big other hurdle. And you have to decide what your state allows you to do. And then all the other fun things at the back end of the business nobody talks about here, right? And that is really hard too, because you still have to motivate those people. Because now all of a sudden, when you're an independent contractor, you kill what you eat. right? When you're a W-2 employee, you're like, oh, it's cool. I don't really have to teach today because I'm just getting my bases. And that's all I need this week. I'm going to go play golf instead. So there's got to be a plan of attack for that person that allows your business to be successful and motivating them. Oh, one second, I'm going to call in here. And there you go. So motivating them, but at the same time, they need to be motivated in order to do what's best for you and your business as well. And so you kind of have to look at that. When I have a coach that's up and coming or someone that has made it that I've worked with, I mean, there's no better feeling than to be a team. And, and then it might turn into you have to figure out how to profit share without profit share. So that's a great problem to have. And I think the problem with this is everyone's different in what they're going to tell you they need, and then you just have to decide what it's worth for your business. But that's a conversation I'd be happy to talk with you more about off of this too, because I think that's a longer combo than just here.
Luke, do you have some insights on that question from that?
Yeah, no, I think everything, Noah said they're spot on. I think, really the lever is going to be financial, right? And so what is that percentage commission agreement? Are you taking a percentage for them to come in and utilize your facility? What kind of benefit are they bringing to you financially or otherwise? Are they bringing people in? And I think just toggling those switches, it's it's interesting. I think as you look at it, this question, it's a good question because I think it's one that's going to be at the forefront as technology starts to creep more and more into the student learning experience, and as they get more comfortable with the feedback that's getting, digested by these machines and put out through the software. It's really a question of how much human interpretation are they going to need and want, and of what value is that to your facility. And I
Mm.
think if you can, tap into that and get the answer that works for you, I think you can have it be of benefit. But I really try to shy away. I mean, I've had area instructors that because we are under snow for so long, they want to come in and bring some students in. And I think Noah can probably identify this with this as well, and probably everybody on this call. If you've cut your teeth on establishing a facility, the last thing you want to do is enable someone to come in and utilize that at no charge or of no benefit to you. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into these things, and if an area instructor knows, hey, I can go use that 4 or 5 times during the winter, yeah, that erodes, your brand. If you have an instructional brand there, you really want to protect that. That's all I have really is that brand at the end of the day. And if I have someone in there that, is bringing someone in and is not engaging my brand, that's a knock. That's taken away from, what I have to offer. So I really try and protect that. I do have a relationship with a golf course in town where we have been able to take students out and do playing lessons. And I really thought that was in the first year that was going to be important. I thought that I was going to need that footprint, that green grass footprint from a coaching standpoint. And what I have found at the end of 3 years is I don't need it. I don't use it. I get more done inside. It really going outside is more of a hassle than anything else. From a logistics standpoint, it takes way too much time, and I've just gone away from that. So I know every situation is different, and I think there's a time and a place for green grass instruction, and but in terms of what I'm doing, I haven't really found that to be a necessity at this point. So hopefully that answers your question. I know it's a tricky one, but I think just bottom line, I would summarize and say, you know, find that toggle that works for you financially and that protects your brand and utilize that.
So in the sim space, I guess it's going to be an interesting question for both of you. I think I know my answer, but can you drive this thing without coaching programs, or is it, is there a path where coaching programs, won't be a large part of what keeps people coming back? But because to me, it's sort of we need those to create these relationships to fill the bays, whether it's because that person wants to be there because they're working on their game and that's part of the coaching and that kind of fills up the time and they spend some money while they're there. Or can it just be experience based?
That's a great question. I would just take a first swipe at that and say I'm in your camp. I I see a I don't see a path where Sims can really exist without a strong coaching presence. I don't see in doing this for 3 years, strictly indoor. Um, the human connection is what's driving it, and you see that day in and day out. I just don't think that I don't think we're going to get to a point where it's just fully automated and sustainable. Um, I think that coaching side of it is really the backbone.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Alex, I had some technical difficulties. Can you repeat the question? It like zoned me out there for a second.
I guess my question was maybe, and it might apply more to you. Could the golf garage more or less survive just as an experience where you're just filling up bays and these people are not in coaching programs that's not being used to drive it? Like, could that ever be a part of this model, or is the coaching always going to kind of be the driver to keep people coming back and
I'd say the
engaged?
coaching's always going to be the driver. I'm just looking at where our revenue comes from and our coaching programs, especially in the mornings. I mean, it's why people are in there practicing, right? It's why people go to the golf courses to get better. So at some level, if a golfer's on their own, they can get better at golf, right? Just go play golf every day. But then they start playing with their friends, and whether it's embarrassment or the feeling they get, or they see their buddy hit that cut shot or whatever it is, and they say, hey, I want to be able to do that. Oh, well, I had a lesson from this person. Okay, great. So there's so many different ways you could look at that. But I'm a big, big believer that golf courses should all have player development experts and instructors on property, and their revenues, it's proven that their revenues will go up, right? And on top of that, their attrition rates will go down, and they will grow these amazing communities together. And I think that general managers are starting to get smarter in that realm. I would say in the last 5 years for sure. A big part of that is that the indoor facilities have come out and they're losing members to that because of the community engagement, or they're leaving their club to take lessons down the street because someone like Luke is just known and they're making them better, and they've given them the relationship that the other staff members didn't, right? And for you assistant pros that are on the call, get educated as fast as you can and find a niche, find a mentor. That is the one thing in our industry, is it is out there for you, and don't be afraid to move around. I've moved around a ton and I'm finally in a place where I can call home, which is home, right? And you can write your ticket, but you need to get out there and feel comfortable asking for help. And Coach Now and that tool is our accountability engine, right? So again, I tell my coaches that because we set it up so all the coaches can see it. So like if Ryan, our director of instruction, gives a lesson, then I can go and look at that profile, right? And I love that aspect and that team environment. And then we can all get better too, because it might be like, hey, Ryan, that's a really cool drill. Why did you do it then? Right. So now we have our little team meetings as well. And now we are having our own educations, right? Along with this, and we're all learning together, and it becomes really, really fun, because I never thought about using the towel in that way or whatever it was, right? So I think not only is that cool, but it just also creates accountability to the student. And again, I'm going to go off the subject and use just Op36 just because it's tied into our platform. And we are trying to use that more just to see who's practicing. So the idea of using the time on that is really nice for us because we can go in there. And I will also give food for thought to George, since you're on the call also. I think what was really unique, and I don't know if this is the case now, but it would be really cool if those two platforms talk to each other a little bit more with the marketing side, because that's kind of what Luke and I are talking about. I know you guys know this. I'm sure you're probably already ahead of the game on it, but if that becomes a thing too, it's like that's one less thing for an employer to have to worry about. And I think it makes it easier for the head professional to say, I need this program too. Cause you guys, it's so good what you guys have to offer. And we use you know, the tournament side of it too for our simulator. And so Alex, going into that, like we have league play too, but everybody still wants to play on a golf course. So that's what you have to realize too, as an indoor facility. You got to partner with those golf courses, or you need to get on the golf course and drive those rounds up. Golf is not going away. It's just like alcohol. Look at like when there's recessions. What are the two things that stay true? Yeah, you might lose a few courses, but people have more time. They go play golf, they go to the store, they do their thing, right?
Mhm. Good
Bad
stuff.
analogy, but it is what it is.
I enjoyed it. I want to leave some room for Phil and for some QA, but thank you both, Luke and Noah. I think there were some great insights there. I know both of you are sort of would be willing to help some people if they had questions. Outside of that, I obviously appreciate you using Coach Now and speaking fondly of Coach Now. I think we do see ourselves as an option in the sim space to either kind of help facilitate the coaching or to bring in some of that technology or even to do some of the scheduling, depending on what your operation looks like. So appreciate it. Phil, we obviously appreciate being here. And maybe I'll hand it back to you if you want to open it up for QA and do your closing pieces.
Absolutely. And if there are any questions out there, please feel free. But at the same time, you will all, if you registered for this webinar, you will get the contact information for Luke and Noah and Alex, and you can feel free to follow up with them and ask them questions because they are great mentors. But before I wrap up, George, do you have any comments that you want to add?
No, I mean, I think uh, it was very helpful, and I think what my kind of summary would be is that running a simulator business, it can range from being very coach centric, it can range to being very filling bay rental slash entertainment centric, and it's up to people to kind of choose where they are on the spectrum. But coaching is a critical aspect of that, no matter which piece of the spectrum you're on, because even if it's entertainment, it's a way to engage people, get them into the bays, practicing, eating, and doing more coaching. So I think that was represented very well here.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Yeah, Alex, guys, you did a great job. Alex, I'm going to tell them a little bit about the IGA, and then I'd love for you to just to wrap up with a quick conclusion. So, if you will allow me, folks, I'm just going to remind some of you, maybe some of you are new, who we are and what we're doing, but we are the Indoor Golf Alliance. We're here for you. Our services primarily are at no charge, free membership, and what we offer is a weekly newsletter with industry updates. We offer monthly webinars like this. We have a supplier directory with all the suppliers and services and products available. We have tons of opportunities to connect you with folks. So if you're looking to meet somebody or build a relationship, we've now just launched our all-inclusive location facility finder. So if you're looking to expand and you want to know who's who and who's doing what, we have all 2,600 locations and growing on our site. So that's available to you. But I do want to quickly just share that we are doing the very first indoor virtual conference. It'll be June 24th, and you're going to hear content like this and so much more. We're going to offer 6 sessions in one day. It's a long day, but it'll be very, very informative. So you'll receive a link from me on that after this call, and you are all now, if you weren't an official free member of the IGA, and feel free to reach out to us anytime, anywhere, and we'd love to help you, because that's what we're here for, is to help you build a bigger business. So with that, Alex, if you don't mind kind of closing us off and just wrapping this thing up, and we will send everyone on their way.
Yeah, well, if anybody wants to connect with me or help get connected to one of these two, I'm sure they would share some thoughts. So if you heard some things here and you want to know more, you can obviously email me. It's alex.berlin@golfgenius.com. But I think what I heard and what we heard from both of these two coaches is that, coaching is going to help to build the relationships that leads to these people staying around. That in some way we're going to have that element to what you're doing at your property. To the extent that you keep that communication going with that person beyond that time with them in there, obviously the coaching is going to get them to return. I think there is a space where, and I'm really interested to see this, where the remote coaching plays a piece of that sim, and that's part of that membership. Some coaches are already doing that. That's part of it. So I would say food for thought or something to think about. Find a tool where you can do some of the coaching that doesn't happen in person with that tool and structure that relationship with a membership as well to whatever your indoor setup is. And I think our goal at Coach Now is it's and maybe Golf Genius in general is like, can we connect more of these dots? That's what we've come into this with. We want to help you run your, Noah talked about running the business. We want to help you run your business better. But we also want to see how much we can make this sort of our platform the all-in-one to allow the coaches to do everything they want to do with the technologies that they have. So that's where we're aimed at for us. Uh, Luke, Noah, I do appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. Noah, I know you have to jump. You got your college team, your golf team to go work with, and Luke, I appreciate you jumping in while you're kind of on the road. So I'll probably have to make a visit to both of your properties.
So everybody, thank you again. Thank you
Absolutely.
for all.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everybody. I do have to jump to another meeting, so let us know. I'm open to giving as much insight as I can for you. Thank you.
Great job, Noah. Thank you so much. And thank all of you who participated. I know you learned some great things, and we're here because of you. We do this because of you. We want to thank Golf Genius and Coach Now for being supporters of the IGA, the Indoor Golf Alliance. And gang, we're here for you. So reach out, let us know how we can help, and good luck, and stay in touch. Keep us posted. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Luke.